We are at the beginning of geometry, and since we're at the beginning, we have to start building the whole system of geometry. So our objective is that we understand that we're building geometry from the beginning using things like vocabulary, postulates or axioms, and theorems. Now, you're very familiar with vocabulary. That's the terminology, or sometimes thought of as just the words that we use in geometry, like for instance, points and lines and triangles, those sorts of things. Postulates, on the other hand, these are things, and sometimes we call them axioms. Postulates are assumed to be true. We have to start somewhere. And so when we start our system of building geometry, we're going to assume some things to be true. As an example, if we've got two lines that intersect, we're going to assume that they intersect in one point rather than in 2 points. So that's something that would be a postulate to start off with early in building our geometry system. Theorems are when we use the vocabulary definitions, the postulates that we've worked with to be assumed to be true, and we prove to be true different ideas that will help us build this system, and then we can use all of these to build and prove more theorems true. As an example, if you have two lines that intersect, it forms some congruent angles in opposite places in those intersecting lines. So those are the building blocks of what we're going to use. So we're going to start off by using a lot of vocabulary, and that vocabulary will help us understand the terminology that we're using, and from there we're going to start talking about different postulates that are true in this system that we're building for geometry. And once we have that, we'll prove something to be true in terms of a theorem. And those theorems we can use to prove other theorems true. So we start building up the system. Then we go to a new topic. We might need some more vocabulary for that. And then once we have that vocabulary, maybe we need a postulate from that, or a couple postulates, and then we'll prove some new theorems to be true. Once we build that system, we'll know more things about the world around us, about things in 2 dimensions, things in 3 dimensions, and be able to make logical conclusions about that. What's important to realize is we start here at the beginning. We're gonna talk a lot about vocabulary. You're gonna learn a lot of new terminology, almost a whole new language of geometry. We're also going to talk about things assumed to be true, our postulates, and then we'll start getting into proving theorems as we build our system of geometry.